Dirt Trax is sponsored by Can-Am. The ride says it all. Polaris, the world leader in off-road innovation. And by Yamaha. Conquer Outdoors.
I get to do a lot of really cool trips working here at Dirt Trax, doing what I do. And I've been a lot of places, and I've seen a lot of really spectacular things over the years. When this trip to come to Newfoundland popped up, and I just really didn't know what to expect. I mean, I'm a Canadian, and I've lived in Canada for 36 years. But I've only been to Newfoundland one time when I was 14, and it wasn't this region. So I just didn't know what I was getting myself into. All that I'd heard was spectacular. I'd heard about the views, I'd heard about all the cool things you can do here, and I definitely knew the people were amazing, but I just didn't know what to expect from an ATV adventure in this part of Canada. Our contact at the ground here in Newfoundland, his name's Craig, and he owns Rugged Edge, which is a CFMOTO dealer right in the area, and it's quite a large CFMOTO dealer actually. When he started telling me about the number of units that he sold, I was blown away.
In the last few years, since we got into the rental and the tourism business at Rugged Edge, just outside of the retail stuff, we've had a big interest in trying to show the rest of the world what we got to offer here. This is our hidden gem or our secret locations or whatever we have here.
Our first location for this trip was one of the more unique places I think I've ever been. We traveled from Corner Brook to a town called Robinson's. It was about an hour and 45, maybe just around 2 hours away. It wasn't a bad trip, and of course you're in Newfoundland, so it was a beautiful drive. The place we were headed to was called Pirates Haven ATV-friendly campground and RV park, which is a mouthful. Basically what it means is it's sort of a pirate-themed campground and RV park that is very ATV friendly. I mean, you couldn't ask for better people. These are the type of people, when somebody says the people in Newfoundland are great, this is who they're talking about. Really, really cool personalities, and they have a great backstory for why they do what they do. The place itself was very tidy, had great amenities. I mean, the hookups for RVs were among the best you'll ever find at any RV park. The cabins we stayed in were first class, beautiful cabins, comfortable with all the amenities you'd need. And most importantly for us, when you're coming out to do an ATV trip as Dirt Trax TV, it's the trails. I mean, it's the ATVing that we're here for. And we were definitely not disappointed in that department.
So on this trip, we took our group that always travels when we do our group tours. We also had a long-time CFMOTO customers travel with us on this trip to meet the guys from Dirt Trax and Kevin Cullen from CFMOTO, and to again enjoy riding in a different area than they usually would.
Initially, I was attracted to CFMOTO by the warranty and the look of the product. Security, knowing that the ATV was going to survive when I put it through.
Yeah, well, the first CFMOTO was a 500, and it was an automatic, so I didn't have to change gears with bare feet. Steve came home one day and said he was trading his Terlander, getting the side-by-sides. Yeah, I felt I better get one too. So anyway, I ended up with a ZFORCE 500 HO with the power steering. So
this trip was a joint venture between Newfoundland Tourism and CFMOTO. And we have a great relationship with CFMOTO, and I was excited to be able to spend some extra time on CFMOTO vehicles in an environment that I'd never ridden them in before. And I've ridden them back at home on our trails. I've raced them and had success there. But I'd never done a travel story with CFMOTO vehicles. So I was looking forward to putting some time in, putting on good miles in an area that I wasn't familiar with, and really getting a feel for what a CFMOTO is like.
Well, it was really interesting, now that I'm working at CFMOTO as brand ambassador, to bring some of my journalist brothers to some of what I think are the golden jewels that I've seen along the way. So I thought it was really important with you guys at Dirt Trax to bring you here to Newfoundland, because this is just, from my perspective, one of Canada's best kept secrets.
Our trip took us from the RV park, and our first sort of, not location, but the first trail was pretty neat. It kind of took us right through this swampy area, but it was a swampy area that had a hard bottom, and I don't know if it had been filled in or if that's just the way the swampy areas here are. It was all gravelly and hard, but there was lots of water, and the trees were kind of all grown over. It was pretty tight. It was a nice little spot. It was really hot the first day that we rode, so being in the water, being in that environment was kind of cooled us off a little bit. The sun was shining. But that's how we started our trip, was with a really cool beginning. And you know, if you start a trip with really cool scenery and a really cool riding spot, that the trip's probably going to be good the whole time. From the marshy area that we rode through first, we ended up going to what is locally known as the Head, or Robinson's Head. The town that we're in is called Robinson's, and this happens to be one of the tallest points sort of in the town area. And it overlooks the ocean. It's right on a kind of a bluff, and man, in terms of spectacular places that I've seen in my life, this one goes way at the top of the list. I mean, the further we rode through this sort of meadow going up towards Robinson's Head, the more impressed I got, and the more I kept thinking, it really can't get better. And then every foot I drove, it got better, until we finally got to the very top, this little plateau, and we pulled over and got off the vehicles. And I just looked around and thought, you know, people don't know that Newfoundland has this. They've seen pictures and brochures, or they've heard stories, but until you're here and you can see this type of view, you can see this type of scenery, you wouldn't believe that it was here.
Dirt Trax is sponsored by Princess Auto, a unique world of equipment, tools, and more.
So we left Robinson's Head and traveled down sort of through these meadows. There's a really neat lake as you're traveling. They call it the heart-shaped lake. And when you're up on Robinson's Head and look down, it's a pond that's shaped like a heart. I mean, it's really neat, and it fits its name. It was a fun little ride. We were able to get the speeds up a little bit.
As you can see, that riding landscape can match anything in the entire world. We really wanted to bring you guys here to show this to you, because I think your audience is going to love this place and want to come and work with these folks.
You know, it's not normal in our Corner Brook area, but very unique on the out west towards Robinson's.
And once we got to the beach, honestly, sounds like a broken record, but it was something I just didn't expect to see. We rode down the beach maybe 1 kilometer till we got to this little kind of protected cove area. And, you know, Paul and Ruth had come out that day. They weren't able to ride with us, but they came out that day just to cook us this awesome lunch right on the side of the ocean. You know, we had moose burgers and moose sausages, just some authentic stuff that you only get here in Newfoundland. It was so good and unexpected. And we spent maybe an hour there kind of just chilling out, sitting on the side of the ocean, watching the waves. We were looking for seals or looking for maybe a whale sighting. And had a great time. And you know, we were out there with good people and had some good food and a good ride. And you can't really ask for much more than that. After we were done on the beach, we were heading back towards Pirates Haven. And on the way, we kind of hit this little railbed section and crossed this awesome trestle bridge. It was actually 2 trestle bridges with a little island in the middle crossing this great big river. And man, it was beautiful. If there's one thing Newfoundland ATVers get to experience, it's some pretty incredible trestle bridge views. The trestle bridge itself was right below the campground. The campground was up on a bluff and you could see it as you were crossing the bridge. Our cabins actually overlooked that bridge. So we crossed that and got some cool shots out there. And it was just a good way to end that day, you know, to end with a spectacular view right back at the cabins, put your feet up and have a nice evening. And I mean, I couldn't have asked for any more. After a really good night's sleep in the fantastic cabins at Pirates Haven, beautiful morning, it was fantastic. And the goal for that day was to check out another trestle that was even more impressive, but was further away, about 20 kilometers away. On this day, Paul was actually able to ride with us. He was our guide, and man, he's a character. He has got one of the best personalities I think I've ever seen.
I grew up in a small area where bikes were very dependent on everything for work, play, fun, freedom we have out here because of our rivers. We're on basic 5, 6 major salmon rivers, on 5 or 6 major wood roads that travel back into the country. So it gives you accessibility and has been there for years and years. So the accessibility has always been there. Our railway bed, since they took up the railway bed in Newfoundland, it opened up one whole large trail right across Newfoundland.
You know, we went up to the trestle bridge and spent some time checking it out. There's a really cool gypsum deposit as you're crossing the bridge. If you just look over the river, the whole wall of what looks like rock is white, like really white, and it turns out it's gypsum, which is what they use to make drywall. Crossed over the bridge and then went down onto the actual riverbed. Apparently that river is really full of salmon most times.
Seasonal campers who come to visit, well, we have rentals on site. It's quads and side-by-sides from Rugged Edge. And we have a 6-seater that we do on site that we take out personalized tours. These tours are going daily. The rentals are available daily, half-a-day rentals and daily rentals. And we do excursions every day. We go do a cook-up wherever you want to go in our whole region. We can go every day. We can travel up to 150 kilometers a day and take you somewhere new, different every day, different atmosphere, different feeling, different Newfoundland experience.
The next part of the trip was what I was looking forward to the most, because this was getting to the beach, but traveling down a riverbed to get there. And apparently it's like, 10 kilometers down a riverbed, you actually travel right along the river. And I thought that sounded really unique, really interesting. So we headed on down the rail bed another maybe 15 minutes, turned off the edge onto another little river. It was just so cool. The creek bed was all made of like pebbles and rocks and stuff, very little sand. The water was clear. I mean, clear as glass, and we were really hot, and every time the water splashed on you, it felt great. The ZFORCE 800 that I rode in was a very familiar vehicle to me. It performed well above any expectations. It was comfortable, it rode good, it had lots of good power. We rode that for maybe 10 minutes, and then out of nowhere, you just come around a corner, boom, there's the ocean again, and you're right on the beach. Day 1 and 2 of our adventure in Newfoundland was chock full of incredible riding, incredible views, scenery, incredible people, and we'd had one of the best times I've ever had on ATVs. But day 3 had something really unique in store for us. Craig had promised us an extremely authentic Newfoundland experience.
Dirt Trax is sponsored by MBRP Power Sports, race-inspired performance.
For our 3rd day adventure, Craig had promised us a genuine, real-life, authentic Newfoundland experience, and we were going to go out on a cod fishing boat.
Good friend of mine, Darren Park, owns a little tour company called 4 Season Tours. So we decided that we would take the boys out and have them go cod fishing in a traditional Bay of Islands dory, which is a Newfoundland boat specific to the Bay of Islands.
Well, Craig and Melissa at Rugged Edge understand that really what this is all about is getting out with your family and experiencing things. Getting a chance to come out and try and fish for a bunch of the different fish in a traditional fishing boat.
And Darren said, you're going to catch some cod today. Hands me a fishing rod, and we get out on the water. It's just a totally interesting process. It's like science.
Now we reel up, like I say, roughly 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm not a fisherman, so I'm learning a lot.
All this in is just jigging, so let it sit for a few seconds. Little jig. Let it sit and fish on.
You just got one? I don't like eating fish. I don't like fishing that much, period. But I figured, hey, when in Newfoundland, do what the Newfies do and go fishing. So that's what we were gonna do. Got my rod sorted out, dropped her down in the water, and Kevin threw his rod in the water, and Craig had his down, and sure enough, everybody's catching fish. And it was just like boom, 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 fish coming up, and big ones and little ones. And we caught like, I don't know, 8 or 9 fish. I can't remember how many it was. It was a lot of fish in a matter of no time. And I was thinking to myself, if this is what fishing was like at home, I probably would be a fisherman, because the excitement when you get one on the hook and you're reeling it in and you pull it up out of the water, there's a lot of excitement involved in that.
I've gone on the drift, right? So
First Dirt Trax fish catch.
So I'm hoping after the Dirt Trax crew spending their last few days traveling around the beautiful West Coast with us, that you're going to be able to show the rest of the world what we have to offer here. We've got some great trails, we've got great views, we've got wildlife, we've got excellent food, and we've got some, really friendly people. If anybody wants to come and visit us, We can show you a great time like we did with the Goss for the last 3 days. So we're more than welcome to come here and enjoy what's in our back garden.
If you want to experience Newfoundland exactly how we did, give Craig a call. You got nothing to lose. You don't have to bring your own vehicles because he's got rentals. Make a phone call, buy a plane ticket, fly in here, hook up with Craig. He'll take you out and do all this stuff, provide the vehicles, provide everything, and then fly yourself back home. I put this on one of my top 5 trips that I've ever taken. I put this on one of my bucket list places to come back to, and I think everybody should do the same thing.
Closed captioning of Dirt Tracks is sponsored by Triton Trailer, built for adventure.
On this week's test ride, we're going to bust some myths surrounding the perception of Honda with the Dirt Tracks crew. Come on, follow me, I want to show you something. This is my 130 horsepower Honda outboard motor. This thing is super reliable, unbelievably fuel efficient, and starts every time you look at it. Plain and simple, this is a great engine. This is my sweet 15-year-old Honda Weed Whacker. It never fails to start on the first pull, despite the fact I've never changed the oil on it. It still runs like the day I bought it. So here's what I'm saying. The highly critical and discerning staff here at Dirt Tracks TV really do have a profound appreciation for the key attributes everything with those 5 letters on it represents. There's no doubt the subject of this test ride, the Honda 1000 Pioneer LE, will revisit the attributes Honda is famous for. However, there's more going on here than just bulletproof durability and quality. This 1000 Pioneer has earned substantial praise from the Dirt Tracks crew. So here's the deal. You, me, and everyone whose head sucks air agrees. Honda's ATVs and side-by-sides are assembled with the highest quality processes and components. It's a given. H-O-N-D-A means quality. Nonetheless, we've been down this road before. We've given kudos to Honda's core attributes, but had to backpedal on how some Honda side-by-sides didn't perform up to the expectations of both our test riders and you, our viewers. In the case of this exceptionally good-looking and near ergonomically perfect Pioneer side-by-side, things have changed. We are impressed with its engine performance, ride quality, and excellent handling. Seriously, this is a top-performing ride which puts Honda in a new place in the side-by-side market. Go ahead and quote us. This is a competitive vehicle against the sales-leading Polaris Ranger. This may freak you out, but lurking under these fenders is a set of our favorite coil-over shock dampers. A full set of Fox QS3s are standard on the LE. Pretty sweet. QS3s are super easy to adjust. There's just 3 settings: soft, medium, and firm. We elected to use soft and found the Pioneer to be as plush as any side-by-side we've tested to date. The Pioneer has excellent roll control in high-speed turns, and the suspension articulates well in gnarly, rock-strewn creek beds, keeping quality Maxxis bighorns hooked up. There's a ton of EPS systems available in the side-by-side market. However, quite a few of them leave a lot to be desired. The Pioneer 1000's EPS is literally flawless. The 1000cc Unicam parallel twin in the Pioneer is a gruntmeister on tight trails and rev-happy on fire roads. The spread of power is not just good, it's excellent and rivals both the Ranger and the Defender's 1000cc mills. This ungoverned Pioneer, a first for Honda, easily pulls a healthy 60-plus top end. However, Honda's insistence on using a needlessly complex, auto paddle-shifting dual-clutch tranny on their side-by-sides gets low marks around here. Yes, this is the best this system has ever worked, likely due to the 1000's imposing power delivery. However, it is a complicated, jerky operating tranny which does not equal the smooth and linear response of most of the CVTs used in competitive vehicles. A question we have with the LE relates to its dual-mode cargo box. The cargo box converts into a pair of high-mounted dual rear seats, complete with belts, doors, and a roll cage. While multi-passenger side-by-side sales are continuing to soar, Honda's answer to the multi-passenger issue is at the very least unusual and most certainly complicated. Essentially, the rear cargo box morphs into a rear seat for 2 passengers. When this mode is selected, there is no longer any usable rear cargo space in the box. This is a little confounding, as generally the more riders you take with you, the more junk they bring with them. We think Honda should just weld in the extra length of frame required to make the Pioneer 1000 into a full 6-seater with an unobstructed cargo box. Make no mistake about it, the Pioneer 1000 LE is highly competitive in the hotly contested big bore sport utility segment. It gives its main competitors, the Polaris Ranger XP 1000 and the Can-Am Defender 1000, a serious run for their money.
Dirt Trax Television has been sponsored by Polaris, the world leader in off-road innovation, Can-Am, the ride says it all, and by Textron Off-Road, driven by the bold.
Thanks for watching this segment of Dirt Trax TV. For more great content, make sure you click the links or subscribe to our channel where we're always updating with new content every day throughout the week.